So for this project you're going to need 9 envelopes. I'm using some red envelopes like this, and mine have a square flap on them. And the first thing you want to do is, with 8 of them, you turn the flap, fold it the other way. So I've done that on 8 of these envelopes. And how the book joins together is the flap gets tucked into the inside of the next envelope like that. Okay, so you continue to tuck the flap into the next envelope. And then you keep going. Obviously you can use more envelopes or you can use fewer envelopes depending on how many pages you want. So that's the 8 envelopes, and what we're left with is the inside of an envelope on the front and the flap and envelope on the back, which obviously we don't want to leave like that. So to do the cover of the book, what you're going to do is you're going to take an extra envelope and score it about just under 1 centimetre from the fold of the envelope. Can you see that score line there? Okay. Then what we're going to do is at the back, the flap that we had, that is going to tuck in to the inside of that envelope. Then you close your book. And then on the other side, you have to kind of roll the flap a little bit to make it fit. And then you tuck it in like that. And that centimetre that you scored is now your spine. And that is your book. And what you have is you have a front cover with a flap, or you could turn that into the back cover. Have a flat front cover, and then inside each page you have a pocket side and a flat side. And that is how you make the basic book. And depending on whether you want that flat for the fronts, I'm probably going to use this side for my front, because that way I'm going to cover this side anyway, and that way I've got the back of my book is flat, and I've got my pocket on the right hand side of each page then. And that's the basic book.
But did you know that when it snows, my eyes become alive, and the light that you shine can't be seen? Baby, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the more I get of you, stranger it feels, yeah. And now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom on the grave.
So the next part I'm going to do is the front cover and the ribbon, which is going to act as a closure for the book. And the ribbon is going to go round the middle of the book. Just check that the ends are the same length. And I'm not actually going to stick the ribbon down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick things over the ribbon. So I've mounted this panel from one of the Mon Amour papers. I've just mounted on some black card. So next step is to attach that. Just going to use some Pritt stick for that. And I quite like this panel because you could probably, it could be landscape or portrait. So I'm just going to fix that one onto the front. I'll add some more, maybe some fussy cutting or some paper flowers to that later. And then on the back, I've just cut out one of the smaller panels and again mounted that onto black, and I'm going to stick that just into the middle like that. Again, I'm just using Pritt Stick, but you could use anything. You could use double-sided tape or wet glue, whatever you like to use. So now my book can be tied up with a bow.
Baby, I can pay you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the more I get of you, the stranger it feels, yeah. Now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom.
So to line each page, I'm going to use the Precious One and Heart's Desire papers. And what I've done with each piece of paper is cut it into 4 pieces, so 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters or 6 inches by 6 inches. And then I'm just sliding it into the right hand side of the envelope and just checking that it's sort of even all the way around. And then with the ruler, I'm just checking where my score line needs to be for the center. And on this one, it's about 10.8 centimeters. So my next step is to score this. For this, I'm going to use my trimmer. I'm going to line it up at 10.8. And then just run a score tool down the groove of the trimmer. Then I'll just do the fold using my score tool again. And what I'm going to do this time is slide that short side into the envelope. And I'm not actually going to stick this side down. The reason being, as the envelope moves, there is some movement in the page, and if I just stick one side down, it's not going to make the book kind of pull apart at any point. So what I'm going to do is put the page in, fold it. Now you could, if you wanted extra pages in your book, you could do a page like that to give you an extra page inside the book as well. But I'm just doing this for lining. And then I'm just going to add some Pritt Stick. And then the trick is to line it up on this side, like this, around each side, and then to just close the page. And then when you open it out again, you'll find that it's lined up on that side as well. So my book now has got linings. I've tried to do alternate colours. So all the way through, it's lined.
Baby, I can pay you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the more I get of you, the stranger it feels.
So my next step was to use these panels, which were from the Forever Mine papers. And what I did is I basically cut out the squares for each one, and I've mounted those on the right hand side over the envelope flap on each page. This is the reason why I wanted to do 8 pages, because I knew that would give me just the right number of pages for those panels. I also used some of the panels from the My Beloved and the One and Only papers on the left hand side, so the Love Notes one here, this one, Forever and Always, and on some of the panels on here, I wasn't too keen on the quote, so what I did was I stuck on one of the smaller squares, which is from the One and Only papers, which is the same as the one on the back of the book. And then the last thing I did was I cut some black cards and some red tabs. That's using a Stampin' Up punch, and I stuck on some of the postcard size papers, and the idea is that they fit just inside the flap there. Some of them didn't have postcards, so some of them have just got plain card, and that's there ready to add a photo to, or journaling, or whatever I want to add there. Then the last thing that I did was on the front I added some lettering. I wanted to make it love letters to link with the idea that it was an envelope, and also my plan is I've still kept some of my love letters from a long time ago, and they might tuck inside there along with some photos. Then I added some paper flowers and paper roses, a little bit of black velvet ribbon, and some strips of the papers. This is the one with the butterflies on, and this is the back of one of the pieces of paper here, just to add sort of some more paper ribbon. And that is my finished book.
There is so much a man can tell you, so much he can say. You remain my power, my pleasure, my pain, baby. To me, you're like a grown addiction that I can't deny. Won't you tell me, is that healthy, baby? Did you know?
For this project I used the Mon Amour signature paper, the Dearest Darling paper, and the True Love paper, and I used a plain wooden box that I'd got from a trip down memory lane. Again, I used some letters similar to the ones on the book, and I used some paper flowers. And what I basically did is I covered the book, the back, the sides and the base with the True Love paper. I then cut out this graphic from the Mon Amour signature paper, and I stuck it across the front and then up and over the top. I added some paper ribbons and some paper roses to the top, and obviously my lettering. And for the inside of the box, I lined the inside with the Dearest Darling paper, and then I added the Mon Amour panel, which came from the Mon Amour signature paper. I inked the edges of the box black, just so that they blended nicely with the papers, and I replaced the catches and the hinges after I'd put the papers on. So that's my extra little project to go with my mini book.
Come alive and the light that you shine can't be seen. Baby, I can feel you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the more I get of you, the stranger it feels, yeah. Now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom on the grave. Yes, I can pay you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the more I get of you, the stranger it feels, yeah. And now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom on the grave. Now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom on the grave.